Yeah, but I think it's very important to address that, though,
Yes.
because you use the example of New York. You say even an American who lived in New York moved to Atlanta and he's no longer American. But I think you do know that we have a peculiar situation. So, for instance, if I ask you, Mr. Okoroji, where are you from? Your first answer would not be Lagos.
Until you ask me.
So
if you ask me, I will answer.
Where are you from?
Now ask, I will answer. I was born in Onitsha. My father was born in Imo. My great-grandfather probably migrated from Aro in Abia State. I've lived in Lagos for 38 years. So where do I come from?
What is your traditional language, for instance?
I speak Igbo language. Igbo language. That is the essence of this campaign and our participation. We want to put to an end these imaginary barriers, imaginary boundaries that we have created that have no legal basis, no constitutional basis, in fact, no geographical basis. Where are the boundaries?
So are your plans anchored on housing and water transportation?
Not only that, human capital development. And how do we want to solve that? It's going to be a three-pronged approach. Do you know that Lagos can do agriculture? The question people ask is, where is the land area?
They can or they are?
I'm talking about massive mechanized agriculture. You don't have the available land compared with other states to do that within Lagos territory.
But you studied the agricultural program currently as well.
Oh, sure. But I'm trying to tell you that there are things we can do, innovative things, that will make a difference. Don't forget the question is on human capital development. I'm talking about agriculture. I will show you the connection. Nothing under the law prevents Lagos from moving into neighboring Ogun State to acquire land. Land is cheap and available in Ogun State and other neighboring states.
They've done that.
No, acquire.
The APC government here in Lagos has done that. They have land in Ogun State. They have land in...
For agricultural purposes.
For agricultural purposes where they grow the eco rice. You've not heard about the eco rice?
No, I have. But what I'm trying to say...
Where is the rice produced?
To acquire land enough to do the kind of agriculture and mop up the excess human capital.
In fact, that was why we were asking if you knew Lagos that well, because Lagos, has done all of that. They have land in Abuja, in some other northern parts of the country.
I'm aware that Lagos, in fact, in Abuja, they acquired about 500 acres of land.
So that's why we're saying, what else would you do that this present government hasn't done that will make APGA,
the party to beat?
See the point I'm trying to make. And I say so with due respect and emphasis. Lagos has acquired land in neighboring states. What have they done with the land? And I can tell you confidently that with the lands available, and even more, in Oyo, for instance, land goes for as low as 20,000 per plot. And Lagos has the financial capacity to acquire. If you put down 3 billion on land acquisition in neighboring states, and put down another 3 billion, bringing in tractors from China, put down another 3 billion, training this, mopping up these young people roaming from from shop to shop in Alaba and Mushi, all the area boys running after trailers. Give them 3 months training in skill acquisition on how to drive tractors and how to use modern farming implements.
And this has not been done?
It hasn't been done.
In the last 4, 8,
if it has been done,
16 years.
You will not still find thousands of area boys still roaming the streets of Mushi. I go around.
But are you saying it hasn't reduced compared from 2000, when you had almost everywhere you go to, you see area boys, till now? You still have them? Are they growing, or is the number reducing?
The number is not reducing at an encouraging rate. That is the point I'm making.
But it is reducing.
I have not seen the signs. You have said so. It has not reduced to the extent that people can say, okay, indeed a difference has been made. I am telling you confidently, and many Lagosians.
No, he asked you a question. He asked you if the numbers were reducing. You said they were not reducing at an encouraging rate. So I'm confirming that they're reducing, but the rate is not encouraging.
It is not.
Okay, that's what I'm asking you.
It is not. But if the number is reducing, I wouldn't know whether it's as a result of the agricultural project Lagos State has embarked on. That's not the emphasis is that thousands of young people in Lagos State have no skills, they have know-how.
Are you saying nothing is being done about that?
I'm not suggesting
in Lagos?
I'm telling you that not enough is being done, and we can do better than that.
Okay, so could you tell us what do you want to improve from? Because I mean, some tell us that look, a lot has been done about that. So you haven't cited any particular example of what has been done and how you think it's not being properly done and how you want to improve on it.
That was the explanation I was about to make before you.
But you didn't cite an example of what has been done.
It is not a question of citing an example. I am not by any means trying to underrate or berate the achievements of the present government. That would not be fair. They have done reasonably well in some areas. But in terms of human capital development, we are not particularly impressed as a party. And I am not particularly impressed as a party. But the bottom line is that a lot can still be done. So much is yet to be done.
Do you campaign in Lagos? You go around different nooks and crannies. You mentioned a lot of those places.
Yes. Our campaign strategy goes this way. We connect. We campaign door to door.
Door to door?
Oh, yes, door to door.
Sounds
Marketplaces.
Could you, in that case then, how do you tell them, if you could tell us, give us an example, maybe in 20 seconds in Yoruba, how did you convince them? Let's hear what did you tell them?
Not all of them. Not every Lagosian speaks Yoruba. There are many that don't.
But that's not you. Are you talking about?
Of course, let me tell you, we have a team of a campaign team. It is not Bob Okoroji alone that goes for the campaigns.
Can you tell Lagosians, not your party members in Lagos, even those maybe undecided voters in Lagos, not to engage in violence in the local dialects? You may not. It's not even about language. We recently signed a protocol for non-violence. Our rabbi supporters are highly aware and enlightened with respect to the need to avoid violence. But the truth of the matter is that among our campaign team, among our supporters, rabbi supporters, there are people of all ethnic nationalities. And where we can communicate in Yoruba language, we have people. Can you speak Yoruba?
Yes, to some extent.
You know why it's important?
I'm married from this state.
You talked about how, you know, when your campaign, I mean, the meat of your campaign or the plan you have is for housing. You obviously are addressing very urban centers. You're looking at Lagos as a cosmopolitan city, which it rightly is. But you do know that Lagos still has some rural areas. So you're talking about Ikorodu, for instance. You're talking about Badagry and all those other areas that you would visit or you should have visited by now in the course of campaigning. The question is, how do you talk to those people? How do you send your message across that, first of all, you must be able to differentiate the fact that I have lived here and I'm from you right now and I'm one of you and I feel your pain and I know what to do for you. What will be your message to those rural communities and how do you get your message across without speaking very well the local language? Oh,
sure. Let me explain to you. As you travel from one end of Lagos to another, there are variations in the nature of things you see. In Ikorodu, you have just mentioned, the Ikorodu is traditional area of Lagos State. The people live in those areas not faced with too much of accommodation problem as you find in the metropolises, where people have to rent houses. In those areas, traditional areas, I call them traditional areas, for instance. They don't have to rent houses. They live there. People live in their family houses. But they have
problems. What do you think what is the problem of Ikorodu people that you would tell them, I will solve your problem? They definitely want their lives to be better.
See,
it's definitely not the best it can be, is it?
Housing cannot be a problem to all Lagosians. Don't forget.
Oh, yes. I'm asking what your message is. I acknowledge that. What is your message to the people living in rural areas?
Our message, because we have to speak in collective terms. We operate as a team. Our message for people in remote areas, in rural areas, so to speak, is that education of their children, because that's one area that seems to be a very serious lack. Education, infrastructure, road networks. In many parts of the road that I have visited, the roads are not as they are portrayed to be. In terms of road infrastructure, in terms of education, I don't think it's impressive what the government has done. I believe there's, to some extent, some form of discrimination in the way and manner of siting of projects and the execution of projects by the government of APC has been in power in the saddle for 16 years, especially in Ikorodu, Ekpe, Badagry. The areas considered to be PDP dominated parts. There has been this, should I say, systematic neglect.
We'll come back in, to continue this discussion in a moment. We'll have to go for the headline news. Victor Matthias is standing by with another look at the headlines. Go ahead, Victor.